August 27, 1965, the sun dips low over Los Angeles, painting the Hollywood hills in golden light. On one side of the world, four young men from Liverpool have conquered America. Screaming fans, sold-out stadiums, Beatlemania in full roar. On the other, the king of rock and roll reigns from a Bel Air mansion, his voice still echoing from Jailhouse Rock to Viva Las Vegas. Elvis Presley and the Beatles, two forces that shape music history, have never met. The Beatles idolize Elvis. He's the reason they picked up guitars. Elvis watches their rise with curiosity, maybe a little wariness. Tonight, that changes. At 10 p.m., four limousines pull up to 565 Perugia Way, Elvis's rented home. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr step out, hearts racing. No cameras, no press. Just five legends about to share one room. This is the night rock and roll's past and future collided. Not as rivals, but as brothers in sound. The build-up to the meeting. By 1965, the Beatles were unstoppable. Their U.S. tour that summer drew 55,000 fans to Shea Stadium alone. A record. Helped top charts. Yesterday melted hearts, and their mop-top charm ruled the world. But beneath the frenzy, they were still music nerds. John, Paul, George, and Ringo grew up on Elvis. His Sun Records singles, his hip-shaking TV appearances, his raw energy. Without Elvis, there'd be no Beatles, John later said. They'd begged manager Brian Epstein for a meeting since 1964. Elvis, now 30, was in a different phase. Hollywood films, Vegas plans, a quieter spotlight. He'd heard "I Want to Hold Your Hand," seen the hysteria, and felt the shift. Rock was evolving. Some said the Beatles had dethroned him. Elvis didn't care about crowns. He cared about music. When Epstein finally arranged the meeting through Colonel Tom Parker, Elvis agreed. "Let's see what these boys are about," he said, curious but cautious. The arrival at Perugia Way, the Beatles arrived nervous. They'd played to oceans of fans, but this was Elvis. Paul wore a sharp suit, John his signature cap, George a quiet smile, Ringo drumming fingers on his knee. Security was tight, no press, no leaks. Elvis's home was a Spanish-style villa, rented for his LA stay. White walls, tiled floors, a grand living room with guitars on stands, a bass in the corner, a TV flickering silently. The Memphis Mafia, Joe Esposito, Marty Lacker, Jerry Schilling, greeted them at the door. "The King's waiting," Joe said with a grin. The Beatles stepped inside, awestruck. Elvis stood by the fireplace, casual in a red shirt and slacks, hair perfect, smile easy. "Hey fellas," he said, voice warm. The room went still. The Beatles froze. John later admitted, "We were speechless." The awkward silence. For minutes, no one spoke. The Beatles stood in a half circle, staring. Elvis picked up his bass, strummed a low note, and waited. The silence stretched, thick, electric, almost funny. Paul shifted. George studied the floor. Ringo grinned nervously. Finally, Elvis broke it. "Look," he said, half laughing, "if you guys are just gonna stand there staring at me all night, I'm going to bed." The room exploded. John barked a laugh. Paul clapped. George relaxed. Ringo quipped, "We thought you were gonna say that." The ice shattered. Elvis grinned wide. "Let's play some music." Guitars appeared. Acoustic, electric, whatever was handy. The Memphis Mafia dimmed the lights. The real meeting began. The jam session begins. Elvis started with a Chuck Berry riff, simple, familiar. Paul picked up a guitar, joined in. John grabbed a bass, strumming along. George sat cross-legged, watching Elvis's fingers, learning. Ringo tapped the coffee table with drumsticks he'd brought just in case. They played "Johnny Be Good," then "Blue Suede Shoes." Elvis singing lead, the Beatles harmonizing. No set list, no pressure, just music. Elvis showed Paul a chord trick. George asked about Sun Studios. John cracked jokes. "Elvis, you ever try singing with a Scouse accent?" Elvis laughed, tried a line in Liverpool slang. Terrible, but perfect. They swapped stories, tour buses, screaming girls, bad hotel food. Elvis admitted he envied their songwriting. Paul said Elvis's voice was the reason we do this. Respect flowed both ways. The heart of the night. As the night deepened, the music slowed. Elvis played "Love Me Tender," soft and soulful. The Beatles listened, rapped. Paul joined on harmony, their voices blending like old friends. George asked about gospel, how Elvis learned to sing from church. Elvis told stories of Tupelo, the Assembly of God, the radio at night. John shared his Aunt Mimi's piano, the skiffle craze. Ringo talked about drumming on biscuit tins. They laughed about fame, fans climbing walls, letters by the thousands. "You get used to it," Elvis said. "But you never do," John replied. They were different. Elvis the lone wolf, the Beatles a pack, but the same. Music was their language, their escape, their truth. The private magic, no photos, no recordings. Colonel Parker and Brian Epstein agreed. This was sacred. The Memphis Mafia stood guard. Wives, Priscilla, Cynthia, Patty, Maureen, watched from the kitchen, sipping coffee, whispering. Priscilla later said, "It was like watching history breathe." The jam went on for hours. Rock, blues, country, even a bit of Yesterday, with Elvis on bass. They tried a new Beatles song, unfinished. Elvis gave notes. Paul scribbled lyrics on a napkin. At one point, Ringo fell asleep on the couch, jet lag. Elvis covered him with a blanket. "Let the drummer rest," he said. The night wasn't about ego, it was about connection. 5 men, 1 room, 1 love for sound. The farewell. Around 2 a.m., the energy faded. Elvis stood, stretched. "Gotta let you boys get some sleep," he said. The Beatles groaned. They didn't want it to end. Hugs were exchanged. John shook Elvis's hand firm. "You're the governor," he said. Paul hugged him. "Thank you, Elvis." George nodded. Quiet respect. Ringo, awake now, saluted. "Cheers, King." Elvis walked them to the door, the Mafia trailing. "Come back any time," he said. The limos pulled away. Elvis stood on the porch, watching the taillights fade. Inside, he told Priscilla, "Nice kids, real talented." The Beatles in their car were silent at first. Then John said, "We just met Elvis." Paul laughed. "And he's one of us." The aftermath and legacy. The meeting stayed secret for years. No leaks, no gossip. The Beatles returned to tour. Elvis prepped for Vegas, but the night changed them. John later said, "Elvis was the reason we started. Meeting him was like closing a circle." Paul called it the best night of my life. Elvis told friends, "They're the future. I like them." The press speculated. Did they fight? Compete? But the truth was warmer. 2 generations, 1 room, no rivalry. Just music. The story emerged in the 70s through memoirs, interviews, quiet admissions. Fans cherish it. A myth made real. No photos, no footage, only memories shared by legends. Only a night when music spoke and 5 men listened. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more content. Thank you.